Good morning, Jenny.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And hello, everybody out there. It's Friday.
Absolutely. It's the last day of our gut health challenge. So super excited. I think we've had a good week. I think we've shared a lot of cool information. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm excited for the last day. Let's see what we can do for everyone today.
Absolutely. I've had a great time. And I want to say thank you and welcome to. We had so many new members joining prior to the challenge, and it's been amazing to see everybody interacting. And I look forward to carrying on that, building on that relationship. Because you know what, this is what we do, and I think it's important to maybe everyone know that this is what we do. We prevent, we treat, we reverse chronic disease with lifestyle change. So we run programs, we run. So this is a part and parcel of of what our passion is. But I think you'll agree with me that you're seeing more and more people coming into the practice, your physiotherapy practice, who are presenting with what would what everybody thinks is typical back pain and so on, that is coming from elsewhere, and you're starting to look at this at patients in a completely different way.
Absolutely.
A couple of examples. Remember the patient who presented with adductor, had this pain in his thighs and his inner thighs, and he couldn't get it right, and you decided to have a look at his vitamin D as an example, and we fixed the vitamin D and pain went away. And certainly the one that jumps to mind, a patient who had been coming to you off and on for years with low back pain, and you just kind of asked the question, you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And you looked at, did all of the investigations, took out gluten because that came across in your assessments, took out gluten, and gone. And it was really, really quick. It was a week or so. So this, this metabolic mess, what did they say? Tragically toxic. So we'll try that the same way. Metabolic mess that we are seeing with so many people is obviously, cutting close to people's heart. These are things that are resonating with people.
Yeah.
All right. So the plan today is we're going to talk about the large intestine. That's kind of the topic for today. And at the end of today, we are going to give everybody a really 10-step program. It's really simple, it's actionable, and it's based on our experience and what works for people. So please stick around to the end to go through that sort of 10-step program. We'll obviously post in the resources as well. So that's going to be that's certainly going to be the plan. In terms of the gut health questionnaire, apologies, it was kind of only really got to sorting out a few of the technical issues, so it'll be up today. And we'd love to see your scores. We'd love to see how you're doing there. So please
post them. We'd love to know. Absolutely, and how we can help you further.
Yeah, we've got an amazing team. You haven't met everyone. No one's necessarily met everybody yet, but I look forward to introducing them again. We've got an amazing mindset coach who's joined our team recently, who's really sort of making a significant difference in our 16-week signature program. And I am super excited about a program we've been working on for a long time under Jenny's guidance in terms of chronic pain, which we know today is a metabolic. The genesis of chronic pain is a poor metabolic function. So that's going to be, it's dance-based. It's a dance-based movement program. That's going to be, I'm really excited about that. So yeah, that's what we do on a daily basis. And in October, we are going to be running a discount in October on our programs. And even if you just want to talk through with Jenny, I'll post a link just to book a discovery call with her. There's no cost to that, and she'll really kind of get to the heart of things, and also whether you'll be a fit for our program, because it's not for everybody. So it is an invite-only program, but she'll certainly be able to guide you in the right direction. So anything else that I've missed out on the sort of summary? Maybe a recap just quickly on the 5 days. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. Okay. Let's just go through it.
So we decided to kind of look at your polls, and we decided to kind of take a geographic approach, which I think is really works out well. So we started at the top in the mouth with oral care, and bear in mind, and I think it's easy when you think about it, but it doesn't always line up, is that the gut starts where the entrance is, and the entrance is your mouth. That's where everything goes in. So the entrance of the cave is in your mouth, and the critical role that your mouth microbiome plays in metabolic health, but in health in general. We started there, and then looking at some solutions around that. Day 2, we moved to the stomach, and obviously that's I think that's where people kind of say, okay, this is the gut, and the stomach is certainly, from my perspective, looking in, that's the place where I think we've got it most wrong. And I say we in general, in terms of healthcare, we've got it completely wrong. And we, and functional medicine people have focused on it, because they know that this is the genesis of all chronic disease. That your gut is the focus, and so they've spent the time and they know it, and so that's been fascinating. And then day 3, we go into bug world. Because bug world starts really at the start of the small intestine. That is where our microbiome, our real 100 trillion bacteria live. And it's a war, you got to make sure it's a war down there. I've said like an engine room of the ship, it's dark and no one wants to go down there, but it's really important. And you've got to make sure you've got the good army and not the bad one, because the bad one can make a proper mess. And again, we see these people coming in all the time. Jenny, you'll relate to this. We see people coming in all the time, with the same conditions, that are maybe joint pain and so on. That is that's not the real reason. And then today we're going to look at the large intestine. So, kind of the last step, I suppose, on the way out the cave. Is that a good enough summary of the week?
Absolutely. No, I think that's great. Absolutely.
Awesome. So let's jump into the large intestine. What's what do you share with us?
So, I mean, again, 90% of our immune system is in the gut. So if our gut is being challenged and is dysfunctional, our immune system is going to be challenged. You either end up with it being upregulated, so you end up with autoimmune conditions, or you end up with it being downregulated and you end up getting sick easily and it's just not functioning well. So, it's very, very tied together with the gut. It's part of the 3 finite processes that we look, which are inflammation, immune system, and oxidative stress. And the immune system is triggered by increased inflammation and increased oxidative stress, and that will cause a dysfunctional immune system. So it's really important to make sure that all 3 of those systems are in the right balance and everything.
Sorry, just sorry to interrupt, but I mean, those 3 finite principles, if you look at them, immune, if you look at metabolic disease, which is really where we are focusing, the interaction of those 3 things, and particularly something we don't think about too much. The immune system one is something that even allopathic medicine understands a little bit, but certainly the oxidative stress piece, which is really cell death. That is, and if you think about chronic fatigue and chronic pain, I mean, if you have loads of oxidative stress and your cells are dying, and the mitochondria in them are not functioning correctly, well, it's an obvious connect for me. it makes absolutely obvious sense. If you've got loads of oxidative stress, you're going to struggle with energy, and you're going to struggle with all of those things that people complain about with these horrible conditions.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, gut health is something that we are going to have to manage like forever, from now until forever and beyond. Okay, you stop focusing on it for a week or a month, and you'll go backwards. It just is like that. So our health is always either going forwards or backwards, and it happens on a daily basis. And you've just got to keep focusing on the right things every day. So I mean, yesterday we had that gut health questionnaire, and ideally you want that at 0. Okay, I mean that's quite a challenge to get there, because we're just not that on top of all of our habits, but as low as possible. If you're getting it into the teens, that's really awesome. But so keep track of that. Go back to that every month. You can go back to that post and redo it on a monthly basis, and just check your score. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is it shifting or not shifting? And it creates accountability, self-accountability. So you can keep track on yourself. Are you doing the right things? Are you getting where you want to be? And if you start in the 40s or the 30s, try and get it into the next zone. Okay, try and get it down. So then you take it from the 30s into the 20s. Are you moving it forward? Is it getting better? So I mean, in terms of the gut, typically what we found, the most common symptom that comes up over and over again with patients is constipation. People battle with getting their guts and their bowel moving. So that's probably one of the biggest things we need to just discuss today, and how do we do that? And also, like Steve mentioned earlier, do remember that the gut can also cause extra intestinal symptoms, things like he said, the chronic fatigue, the joint pain, the muscle pain. All of those things can be coming from the gut. Okay, so it's not only problems with the intestine as such, and constipation, diarrhea, bloating, all of those things we've mentioned. It can be other symptoms that are coming from the gut as well. So when we look at it, what is the definition of constipation? Okay, people come and they say, oh, but I'm going every second day, or that's okay. Constipation is anything less than 2 to 3 bowel movements, good bowel movements a day. Okay, so if you're going once a day for a number 2, you are constipated. You need to be having at least 2 bowel movements a day. I mean, I like to think about it, you're having 3 good meals a day. So you should really be having 3 good bowel movements a day. If everything is progressing down the intestine as it should be moving with every meal that you're having. So less than twice a day is constipated, and that needs to be fixed. You've got to be eliminating all of those toxins that are in your stool. And I mean, fundamentally, I mean, it gets set up from oral health. Okay, so we don't fix constipation just by focusing at the end. Okay, we've got to start from the beginning, from our mouths all the way down, stomach, small intestine, liver, all of that stuff that we've spoken about all week prepares the large intestine for elimination. Okay, so make sure that you're doing all of those steps. We kind of think it's just at the bottom end, and we've got to prepare the whole process along the way. So one of the problems, if we are not eliminating regularly, okay, if we're not having those regular bowel movements, is that obviously we then start to reabsorb those toxins, because they're sitting in our bowel for longer than they should be. And then instead of eliminating them, we are reabsorbing them. And then they go around our bodies again and just cause more chaos and trouble and destruction. They start to damage your DNA, end up with different forms of disease. And it becomes a big problem. I mean, cancers start there. All kinds of diseases start there. So focusing on getting rid of those toxins regularly is super important. Okay. And again, that toxic load also starts to disrupt those three finite processes of oxidative stress, inflammation, and immune system, and just causes those, all of those diseases, chronic disease. So in looking at, okay, so how do we kind of reduce our problems with constipation, if I can put it that way? So one of the reasons often is that we are just not hydrated enough. Okay, we don't have enough water content in our stool. So, we need to increase our hydration. That's one of the simple strategies that we can start to implement, is just make sure that we are drinking enough, that we're getting enough water into our bodies every single day, so that our gut is hydrated. So firstly, let's look at quantity, okay? Are you drinking enough? And what is enough? So really, like the bottom line, the minimum quantity is about 2 to 2.5 liters a day, okay? That's the minimum for everyone. And then what we can look at in terms of being more specific for you as an individual is if you take your weight and you look at your weight in kilograms, okay? So if you weigh 100 kilograms and then you divide that by 2, so that's 50. You should probably be drinking, close on about 5 liters of water a day, okay? So that's kind of how you can start to look at it. So that's a good way to start to kind of just, there are various formulas, we can post those as well. Just make sure that you are getting enough in, okay? Then the second thing is looking at the quality, and quality is almost more important than quantity. Okay, what is the quality of your water like? And honestly, the water nowadays is like terribly toxic. It really is.
Tragically toxic.
Tragically toxic.
Tragically toxic.
Absolutely. Certainly in this country, but I think globally, water is just an issue. It really is. It's not, if you're not filtering it at the point of source, you're going to have problems. There are things like environmental toxins, cysts, from parasites, viruses, bacteria, hormones, which are coming from us and are just not being pulled out by the municipal system. So you're getting all of that stuff coming through the water. It's one of the reasons that men are starting to battle with hormonal issues, developing breasts, that kind of stuff. And it's because of the female hormones coming through the water. So making sure that you're filtering that water is just super important. And then people will say, well, I'm okay, I'm drinking bottled water. Well, that's still not okay. Okay, that bottled water, it gets, it's sitting in a warehouse, which is not cooled. Often those warehouses get quite hot. So that water gets heated in plastic bottles, and that plastic starts to leach into the water. Obviously, when it's transported and stuff as well, and even in the shops, it's not even always kept in cooled spaces. So it starts to leach plastic, and you start to get all of those nanoplastics into the water, and then obviously into your body when you drink it. And we're not even sure yet. The research is still too new on what those plastics are doing to us. So bottled water is just not a good option. Okay, so So the third thing is like looking at a strategy. Okay, so what do we need to be doing in terms of our water? And you really need a good point of source filtration system. So attached to the taps that you're using in your home, you need a good filter. That's the starting point. You can have the best nutrition, exercise, stress management, sleep routine, supplements, all of those things. But if you're still getting a big dose of pollutants, toxins, hormones, cysts, viruses, bacteria, whatever's coming through your water, if you're getting that in every single day with the water that you're drinking, you're not going to win. You're just not. So clean water is absolutely foundational to good health. So let's look at filter systems. I mean, what are you looking for? What kind of filter system is really optimal? For many people, they just go and buy a flask, pressed carbon filter, and they don't know how much water they're putting through it. They don't know when they need to change it, and that's just not optimal. Okay, you don't know what the quality of the water that you're getting through that really is. So there are a few components that you need to look for. You need a high quality pressed carbon filter. So that carbon block filter is very important. And then you need ideally some kind of sterilization process, okay, like a UV light or something like that, that kills off, all the bacteria and, cysts and whatever else may be coming through that water. And then thirdly, you want some kind of digital monitoring system that tells you when you need to change that filter. So those are really the three components that you need for an optimal, water filtration system. Looking at, again, quantity, minimum 2 liters, 2 to 2.5 liters a day, okay? You can calculate it specific to your body weight if you're looking at that formula that we mentioned. Then quality, again, good point of source filter, digitally monitored, carbon block, and a UV light or something similar to sterilize that water. Generally, I mean, I don't like reverse osmosis filters. Okay, they remove all the minerals, and I know then people add minerals back and stuff like that, but they basically create dead water, unstructured water. And there's a lot of kind of research coming out now about structured water. We need structured water. We are not sterile beings, okay? We're not sterile, and we don't want kind of sterile, dead water, unstructured water, because that doesn't give us what our bodies need. Our bodies need structured water that they can use to build and do what it needs to do in our bodies. So I'm not keen on the reverse osmosis. You need mineralized structured water. Okay, Steve, so I think today, I mean, our challenge is, again, to take a pic of your point of source filter, okay, or your point of source, whatever it is at this point, and your glass of water and what you are using to filter that water.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to present a 10-step sort of daily strategy, and pick one of them. Something that you might be doing or something that you want to do of those 10, and let us know about that. There's some
absolutely
smoothies. We're going to talk celery juice. We're going to talk all sorts of stuff. So pick one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, and just post it into the comments. Where are you going to start? What have you taken up from our 5-day challenge? What has inspired you, and where are you going to start? And let us know. Absolutely, it keeps you accountable, and that's one of the reasons for doing it in a group like this. And that's one of the things that we love about the program that we do as well, is that it just keeps people accountable. When you don't have that regular contact, you can fall off the bandwagon. So working in community has just really made a difference for our clients. Absolutely, just having that accountability, that community support. So use it in this Facebook group as well. It's there for you. And then, yeah, I think we just talk supplements, hey, Steve?
Yeah, I think so. I think get onto products, and then we'll get into the 10 steps.
All right. So I mean, in terms of supplements, again, there are a lot of good supplements that we can use to start to increase water retention and just bulk up our stools to have better bowel movements and facilitate that whole elimination process. The obvious one is something like magnesium citrate. Okay, that works well. It's not a well-absorbed form of magnesium, okay, but it does work to just bulk up those stools, improve water retention, and facilitate your bowel movements. So that works. And you may have to play around a little bit and find a dosage that works for you. You can start with two tablets at night, see how you go with that. A product I like is called Colon X. It's also by Zymogen. It has that magnesium citrate in it, but it also has one or two other things. It's got aloe and some other stuff in it, which is very good for the gut. And it also just helps to bulk up the stool and improve water retention. So I like that as a product particularly.
And I'll put both of them into the bundle this morning if I can. So they will be available in the Gut Health Challenge bundle. If you give me a couple of hours to do that, that'd be great. I'll get it up there.
Absolutely. And then the last thing, I mean, your large intestine is really where we have, an abundance of bacteria and good bacteria. The small intestine, we're not really supposed to be having much bacteria in there. When we start to get bacteria in the small intestine, that's really when we end up with SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So ideally, we don't want a lot of bacteria in the small intestine. We really want it in the large intestine. The small intestine is more there for absorption, where you absorb all the nutrients, and then all of your microbes come in the large intestine. And what ends up happening is that they migrate from the large intestine into the small intestine when you have a gut issue. And that starts to cause some of those issues and symptoms and stuff that we start to deal with. So remember that SIBO yogurt, okay, again, that's full of good probiotics, and we want that for your large intestine to keep that healthy, make sure we've got all of those good microbes in the large intestine. So yeah, kind of summary again. Today, we need to think about bulking up our stools, 2 to 3 good bowel movements a day, our challenge is, again, take a picture or post something that you're going to be doing into the group and let us know what you are going to be doing. Yeah.
All right. So let's jump into the 10 sort of step program here that we've done. Hopefully everyone can see that. Checking, is that coming through?
Yes, that's perfect. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so just remember, when we start talking about the gut, there's this perfect storm that we've created for chronic disease. I want to spend lots of time on this today. You can have a look at it. And Jenny's been speaking a lot about, and gut health in particular, gut issues cause disease and hinder recovery because, with the immune system being almost, it's a large portion in the gut. Also, loads of inflammation and environmental toxicity in our foods and in what we take across our skin. It's obviously a place where metabolic dysfunction can happen super fast. So this is kind of the approach that we take. And we apply this across our programs, but obviously it makes perfect sense really in the gut. which is really the 5 R's. Remove the triggers, replace your deficiencies, re-inoculate, make sure that your gut health is now healthy with the right microbiome, repair the gut lining, and then rebalance with sleep, diets, and exercise. So this is the process Jenny takes our clients through, particularly when it comes to gut issues. So here's the 10 sort of things. Now, these are strategies that you can really do at home easily, and I'll at the bottom you'll see which R does these things address. So number 1, lemon water. 500 milliliters of lemon water when you wake up. It's something we do in our house. So it's really important. Lemon juice is way more than just sort of vitamins and minerals and vitamin C. It's got loads of other stuff that's super important. So that is one step. Step number 2, physical activity is still the most powerful liver cleanser. As an exercise physiologist, this is really important from my perspective. If you're not moving, it's very difficult to detox your liver. So what we do, depending on what kind of stress profile you present with, we use physical activity not only to feel good, but to be a very powerful liver cleanser, which is a critical component of gut health. Step number 3, celery juice. Yay for celery juice. So getting a juicer and juicing celery, this has been shown to have just amazing properties for your gut. And that's kind of almost the first thing that Jenny advises patients and clients to do, is to make sure that you're getting 2 big glasses of celery juice every morning. So that's something that you can certainly try.
It also helps to get your bowel moving. So yes. If you do battle with constipation, celery juice helps to move it.
It certainly does. I can attest to that. Okay. Now this is a really interesting smoothie. It's known as the heavy metal smoothie. Again, we use this a lot with patients, particularly those who might be susceptible or have been exposed to heavy metals. And heavy metals are difficult to get rid of, but these are compounds that have been shown to bind heavy metals and make them easier to remove. So there's a recipe. I'll put this up in the group today. All of these are available at Dischem if you're looking for the specific stuff. So yeah, this is and it's really tasty actually, but a great way to get gut health really going. Step number 5, please. This is, again, such a simple thing. Chew your food to liquid. And remember, you're starting in the mouth. There's a bunch of stuff that happens there that's good news if you chew your food to liquid. Not only is it good for your digestion, but it also allows your ghrelin and leptin, which are your hunger and your satiety hormones, to balance out and turn off that hunger switch. It's very important. It takes about 20 minutes. So try and set up something like that in your home. No seconds until 20 minutes. So, and if you chew your food to liquid, you'll spend more time eating. Step number 6, poop patrol. Know your transit time. Understand how long it takes to go from food to stool. And it can't be longer than 24 hours. So this is important to track. We do this on our program. We actually track it. We track stool. We track actually what it looks like and composition, all sorts of other things. Really fun.
And the way to track your transit time is to have something like corn or mealies, as we call it here in South Africa, and don't chew that to liquid, okay, because that comes out whole and you can see it in your stool. Or even beetroot, okay, you can see when that comes out. So you just track. So from the time that you ate it until the time that you see it coming out in the toilet, and then you know what your transit time is.
Yeah, and don't panic with beetroot because it looks like you're bleeding, but you're not. So So just remember that if you're going to use beetroots. Step number 7, remove, gluten is just not safe. It's just not. And we can try and get around it and say, but only people with celiac disease, no. Gluten must fall. And gluten is one of those compounds that really do sneak across the gut lining with that intestinal permeability or leaky gut. So remove gluten as much as you can, or completely if you are really battling with gut issues. That's one of the things on fibromyalgia and all of those kind of things where we say remove it completely. Step number 8, broths. We've forgotten about broths, but incorporate broths into your nutritional plan. Not only are they soothing and good for you, but they don't trigger manual digestion. So but they still have loads and loads of good nutrients in them. So broths are super important. Jenny's already touched today on hydration. Make sure that you're drinking at least minimum for everybody 2 liters of water. If you're heavier than that, you need to go up towards 3 and 4 and 5. And this is, again, something we haven't touched on a lot today and over the week. We'll do that in a separate, I think in a separate challenge. I've got an idea for sort of stress management challenge coming up. But 15 minutes a day, if you can, of a formal relaxation technique, whether it be tapping, whether it be yoga, whether it be breath work. There's loads of different strategies that have good evidence behind them. But I know Jenny says this a lot to people, and the evidence is there. About, what was it, 2 hours, Jenny? 2 hours of chronic stress can absolutely trash your microbiome. Is that right?
Stress plays a big role, and it unravels your gut-brain axis. So stress is a big one with gut health, absolutely.
So even though it's step 10, it's a super important one. So
yeah,
this will go up as a resource during the course of the day. So all that we've got to do is say thank you very much to everybody who participated. It was great to see and meet new people.
Absolutely.
Thank you for lots of work.
Great supporting you through this journey. And look out for, new challenges that we will be doing. We'll probably be doing another one next year. And let us know your takeaway points from this. And make sure, like as I said earlier, your gut is something that you're going to be wanting to manage for the rest of your life, from now, every day, forever. And don't forget it. It's the key starting point to success in terms of overall health.
If you've got, anybody got any sort of specific issues you want to talk about, you want to change your life, you want to get started on something, just book your call with Jenny, and let's see how we can help you and whether or not you would fit into our program approach. So thank you very much, everyone. Thanks, Jenny. Have a great day. And we'll see you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve. Look forward to chatting further. Bye.